Put it in a bank where you're not going to access it. Put it into Marcus Bank. They only do savings, high yield savings account. Put it somewhere. That's just one idea. But put it somewhere where you're going to earn money. It's free for you to use the account. And if you need it to be out of sight, put it out of sight so you don't tap into it.
Yeah.
But that's one thing to consider, is to start that emergency fund, that rainy day fund, peace fund, whatever name you want to call it, to make yourself feel good about it.
Let's make green together. Let's make green together. Let's make green together. Let's make green together.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Black and Brown Make Green. I'm Natasha.
And I'm Damien.
It is tax season.
Yay!
And what should you do with that tax refund if you receive one?
Yeah.
So we did receive a tax refund this year, which honestly, I was surprised by how much we received back, meaning we overpaid taxes last year.
Yeah.
So for those of you who get tax refunds, I know y'all think, oh, I'm getting some free money. No, that's your money. The government just been holding on to for a year.
Yeah, it's a little loan you lend to the government.
Honestly, though, I don't mind getting a tax refund back.
Versus paying, right?
I would much rather get a little bit back than to have to pay.
Yeah, me too.
I ain't gonna lie. I would much rather get a little bit back. So even if we get a little bit more back than I expected, I'm not gonna complain about it.
Yeah, we try to keep it low. We try to keep it close to zero because, you know, we want to put our money in a high yield savings account or a brokerage or something and then earn interest on it. But, you know, if it comes down to it, we'd rather get that back.
Yes. And this year we got some money back, which was great. And I want to talk about how we decided to use that money and what are some different ways that you should consider using that tax refund if you haven't already spent it.
Yeah. Yeah, don't make it rain. You know, don't send it out into the ether. Just, you know, let's be tactical here. Let's think about this.
So the tax refund for me, when it's coming into our account, it's not money that was expected. Therefore, it's not going into the normal monthly budget.
Yeah.
It's going to go towards whatever we think it needs to go towards at that time. And this year, we decided to put all of the tax refund money to paying off the mortgage early.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's not paying the mortgage off early. We still got mortgage many years left.
Yeah. It's like chipping one hammer stroke away from 2,000 hammer strokes.
Yes. So it was an extra payment to the principal of our mortgage. That is where our tax refund went this year.
Yeah.
And the reason why I wanted to do that is because I really would love to pay off my mortgage early, even though I know it doesn't make financial sense.
Yeah.
Over investing in the stock market because of the returns that I could get there versus the low interest rate that we have on our mortgage.
Yeah.
But it's an emotional thing, okay?
Yeah. It provides that cushion, you know, like it fluffs our aura so that we feel good and we're safe and comfortable.
I just know I feel good when I don't have obligations. It's
Yeah.
like all I got to pay for is my food and my fun.
My food and my fun. I like that.
That is what's nice when you only got to worry about food and fun.
Yeah.
And so with that mortgage debt gone, it's going to be nice.
It
We're
will
not
be.
there. We're not close to it. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
But we did take that money, and that money that we put in there takes off a couple of months from the timeline of having to pay towards the mortgage.
Yeah.
So you may not have a mortgage. So what are some other ideas of how you could use that tax refund money? What do you think, Damien?
I mean, the thing that jumps out to me is if you have kids, look into a 529. Your kids might go to college. They probably will go to college. This is a good option, and it'll set them up to go to college easily.
And I'm going to counter that with, if you have kids, look into your own retirement first. Because I know so many people are not quite ready for retirement. There are a lot of stats out there saying, 50 years old, the average amount in a 50-year-old's account is $50,000. And it's like, how are you going to retire on $50,000? So before you look into that 529 for your kids, look into a retirement account for yourself.
You're right.
Look into putting it into a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA,
Yep.
if that's your game, your choice, if you're self-employed, a solo 401k, SCP, IRA, whatever works for you, look into your own retirement.
You know, like they say when you're on an airplane, your gas mask goes on first and then the kids.
You know, I've always had this idea of you can do both. You can take care of the kids, 529 or saving for them for college, and also take care of your retirement. But now I'm like, I think the first thing should be that retirement,
Yeah.
because I just see so many more articles about people not having enough when they get to retirement.
Yeah.
So like, how can you take care of somebody else when you haven't taken care of yourself?
You can't. You're going to be a burden, right? And that's the thing that you're talking about. You don't want to do that. You want to prevent that. You want to set yourself up so you don't have to be a burden.
Yes. Okay. So let's get on. We ain't got to talk about 529s in retirement so much. So what are some other things you can do with that tax refund money?
I'm going to spend it on a keyboard or something.
Don't spend all of it.
Okay. No, that's actually a bad idea, because I think that's what a lot of people do actually is they go out and they buy the thing they've been wanting, right? Like for a while, the fun thing, the exorbitant thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a bad idea. What you want to do is you want to like put some brakes on that and just think about your options, right? You have some things that you need to pay down. You have some debt. You have some investments that you could be making. And like, let's not immediately jump into deep consumerism hole, and let's think about all that this could go towards.
And I'm going to counter you again, Damien. I agree with, like, if you don't want to go into that consumerist hole, but if you're someone, you've been responsible with your money and you're like, oh, I haven't bought something nice for myself, take a little bit of it and get your keyboard if that's what you want. But, you know, try to save a little bit too. So, because there's this balance in life, and I think that there's a balance that exists. You got to have a little bit of fun. You got to do the thing that's necessary, but you also got to have a little bit of fun too. So if you've been responsible all year and you've got this tax refund, you want to have a little bit of fun, take a little bit of it and have a little bit of fun.
See, the bad thing about that is you assumed that I've been responsible all year.
Well, if you ain't been responsible, you got to be truthful with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So I agree with you. And that is a consideration that you need to take is, like, you got to do for you too sometimes.
But I do believe consumerism is a huge thing, especially in today's society. Especially for the people who are on social media, I think. And even if you're not on social media, you're still bombarded with ads anyhow.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to feel like you need to buy all these things. I know we just came off of Easter, and you showed me a picture of some lady's Easter baskets. She had gotten her kids.
2 kids, yeah.
2 kids, and one of them, it was full of all these different dolls and doll houses. And for the boy, it was all these video games and video game systems and whatever. And it's like, do we need to do all of that?
Yeah.
Or are we really doing a little bit too much?
Let me frame it more so, because it was a lot. It was shockingly.
I think it was like $300 worth of stuff for each child.
No, it was
if
more.
I remember
it was more.
What was written on there.
They showed an Easter basket. The Easter basket was overflowing, and it was a huge one. It wasn't a tiny Easter basket. It was like
It was like, what I saw was it being spread out on a table. I didn't even see it in a basket. It was just all the things kind of laid out in a nice organized, as if you were giving Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
Like Christmas boxes.
That's because it
organized on a table.
It overflowed from the basket. It was a Reddit post, y'all. I'm not going to lie. I'm always on Reddit. The Reddit post had the Easter basket. The Easter basket had like a doll van, like not a doll house, but a doll van.
Yeah.
And the people on Reddit started naming the prices for these things. The doll van was $120 for the girl, right? This is just the girl's Easter basket, the daughter's Easter basket. Doll van was $120. There were like individual dolls and stuffed animals or plushies or whatever you call them. And they're saying, this is $18, this is $18, this is $20. And like the sum total of the girls' side was like $560 at least. Then they looked at the boys' side. The boys' side had, a bunch of random things. There were like actual video games. There were video game cards. So like you couldn't actually tell, like the subscription cards. So you could just like buy whatever from one of the app store game stores. Mm-hmm. So you couldn't quite tell how much they were, but you could assume that it was probably similarly priced, right? So $500 and $500 for
You don't know
Easter.
if she had coupons or if she got this stuff on sale. Maybe she caught a 75% off sale and she didn't spend $500. Maybe it was $125.
You're right. Yeah, she may have.
But going back to the point of the consumerism, it's easy to fall into that trap of consumerism and to just be aware of if you tend to be falling into that versus getting things that you really want or that you really need. So you could spend a little bit on something nice, but I also think what you were saying about spending on debt, if you have high interest debt that you're paying off or, some type of loans you're trying to get rid of, then you could put your tax refund towards that.
Yeah, like for example, if you have a car payment and you're real close to paying it off and you get this money back from, tax time, like it could be a perfect opportunity to just pay that off. And then you no longer have that debt.
One of the other things you could do is actually put it into a high yield savings account and then continue to pay the monthly bill. But while it's in that high yield savings account, it's earning some money for you. So you've already got that money for your car note each month because you're using your tax refund money to go towards that.
Yeah.
One of the big things that I think is important to consider is, do you have an emergency fund at all? Because every year Bankrate does a survey of how many Americans have $1,000 saved, and it hovers around about 50% that doesn't have $1,000 saved. So if you don't have $1,000 saved in case of an emergency, like that would be number one. If you get $1,000 back, at least put $1,000 aside for an emergency. Put it in a bank where you're not going to access it. Put it into Marcus Bank. They only do savings, high yield savings account. Put it somewhere. That's just one idea. But put it somewhere where you're going to earn money. It's free for you to use the account. And if you need it to be out of sight, put it out of sight so you don't tap into it.
Yeah.
But that's one thing to consider, is to start that emergency fund, that rainy day fund, peace fund, whatever name you want to call it to make yourself feel good about it.
I never heard that. Peace fund.
Peace fund.
But
it brings you peace.
I like that. Yeah, it does give you inner peace to know that if you come across a problem, it's going to help you solve that problem.
Sometimes the language, people get hung up on the language, like emergency. I don't want to think about an emergency.
Yeah.
But if you think about a peace fund or a freedom fund, then that can just make you feel like, oh yeah, this is towards my freedom fund.
Yeah. There was somebody that I saw that was asking about their emergency fund, peace fund, freedom fund, and why wouldn't I take this money and put it somewhere where it's more efficient, right? Like a CD or a money market account or this and that. And the response that I could think of was that you need it right now. You need it quickly, right? Like you need to get it out quickly, easily, no effort. Right. If you're in a pinch, you don't want to have to put a lot of effort in between getting that money out and actually getting it, right? Because it could take a while to get it.
Yeah, the term I always use is accessible.
Accessible, yes.
You want that emergency fund, that peace fund to be accessible so that if something comes up, you can easily get to it.
Yeah.
If it's in a CD, typically that's locked up for at minimum 3 months, and it can be upwards of 5 to 10 years. I don't know why you would do a 5 to 10 year CD, but it could be that high. So you typically want that money to be accessible. So if something comes up, you can get it, you can use it. It's there for you. Yeah.
So that was just to say that I really like that idea of the peace fund. I like that nomenclature.
Maybe I should rename what ours says in the vault. Peace fund instead of emergency fund.
Because it brings you mental peace.
Okay. So we've talked about a couple of different ideas: paying down debt or putting the money aside to pay off the debt slowly if that's your choice. We've talked about treating yourself, putting it towards a 529 account, putting it towards a retirement account. What else can you think of, Damien?
Gifting it?
Gifting it. Yes, you could give some of that money. I know charitable giving is important to a lot of people, and sometimes you may not be in a position to give charitably.
Yeah.
But when you get that refund check, giving to charity might be a good way for you to use that money or a good time.
Yeah, and like one of the things that we talk about is like being environmentally aware, and it could be a good opportunity to put your money where your mouth is. Right? You believe in some efforts, and you can actually fund those efforts.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea. I don't feel like that's normally talked about, giving to charity with money you get back. I think most of the time it's all selfish thoughts of how can I use this money for myself?
Yeah, because people want keyboards.
Not necessarily how can I use it for someone else. So I like that idea.
Yeah.
There are so many more ways that you could use your tax refund. I think the most important thing is to be responsible with it.
Yeah.
Think about your situation and what would be the best use case of this money. Not just, I'm going to take this vacation because now I got this money. But how can you be most responsible with it? And if you feel like you need the vacation, how can you still be responsible and maybe save some of it and start saving towards a vacation with some of it if it's not enough to pay for the vacation?
Yeah, so like delayed gratification.
Yes, but you start that vacation fund. So then you see, okay, this is a little bit towards it, and each month I'm going to keep adding to it.
I really like that idea because it has the same effect. Like you extract the same value out of life, but it's like it makes it a little more intentional, right? It's not like an on the spot decision that you're making because it came to me, so I got to spend it.
Yeah, money comes and it be going as fast as it reaches your hand. So you got to think about how you really want that money, what you really want that money to do for you.
Yeah.
I think it's important to think about that at least.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Hopefully you have learned some different tips and ways to use your money if you get a tax refund or if you get a windfall. It doesn't have to be a tax refund. So if you enjoyed this episode, please join us for the next one. Share it with a friend and let's make green together.
Let's make green together. Let's make green together. Let's make green together. Let's make